Now, the bigger picture, which we always love to talk about here, because everything Trump does is not just what it looks like on the surface. And, you know, from the very beginning of Trump, he talked about the deep state. He talked about draining the swamp. And I'm telling you guys, City of London, big deal on this channel. And, you know, I always believed in a deep state, thought it was just intelligence agencies, maybe CIA, and then maybe an embedded bureaucracy. But after years of research, connecting the dots and being shown some things, it's clearly City of London. Well, you got City of London, you got Vatican as the spiritual aspect of this, which is, we're going to get to the Pope here in a little bit, why that's coming out. And then you had Washington, D.C. as a big part of it. Well, Trump ended that part and he's cleaning it up. So now this Trinity is stranded, and City of London just got much, much weaker by losing Iran, who the Khomeinis were fully controlled by the UK and City of London, which is why they have a $50 billion real estate empire in the UK. Ask yourselves this: how can this evil regime that's sanctioned to death that nobody's supposed to be dealing with, how are those leaders allowed to have $50 billion worth of real estate in the UK? Sounds like a payoff to me, but what do I know? All right. So this is a great post breaking some of this down. The unholy trinity being hit on all levels, sustained attack to bring exposure and closure. City of London's taking hits across banking, debt, and legal frameworks quietly shape global money flow for decades. As those financial channels tighten and come into cleaner view, the next layer follows. Washington, D.C. federalization moves in a stronger alignment where policy enforcement surveillance begin operating with more unity, creating a clearer chain between decision and action. With money and force aligning, attention turns to Vatican City, the spiritual center long influenced belief, morality, and direction. This completes the unholy trinity, with each part supported by networks. As pressure reaches all three, the system becomes easier to see as a whole. Connections between start to stand out. Why do you think when Trump does this stuff, and Iran is the perfect example, because in Iran, you have the UK and NATO not joining us for the first time since World War II in a major skirmish. You have the Pope calling out Donald Trump, not by name, but by the whole, we don't do war, and then calling for unity between Christians and Muslims in a very strange way. And then you have Washington, D.C., the swamp, which is still the full Democratic Party, a lot of the Republicans, and of course the bureaucrats and media. And they all are hating Trump over this. They're all outraged over this. Well, once you see it, you can't unsee it, where it all comes from. It's crazy how they all coordinate for this, but it's a great exposure campaign. And it's exactly why in Iran, where MAGA, the people, have not abandoned Trump. He's lost some in the middle. He's lost some of the libertarians, and he's lost some of the wishy-washy right. Don't get me wrong. There's been a hit to his popularity, but it hasn't come from MAGA. Hasn't come from his strong base. MAGA, which has gone up since the 2024 election from 28% to 30% of Americans consider themselves MAGA. It's anywhere from 85 to 100% approval of Trump, depending which poll you look at. 85 is the lowest. That, my friends, is holding your base. Anything over 70% is holding your base. He's got it 85 at the lowest. So MAGA is with him. MAGA sees it. Well, if that's true, and it is, why would all the influencers dump out on Trump over Iran? And there's only one answer. They were assets, and it's deployment time. Because these people never really cared about Trump the way they said they did. And they lie to make their points. He said no new wars. No, he didn't. He said no new senseless wars. He said he'd never bomb anybody. No, he's talked about bombing Iran before. You go step by step, and now they're calling him the Antichrist. It's crazy. They have to go crazier and crazier because nobody pays attention to him. Nobody's listening to him. So, but it does show you why hold for City of London to keep their control in the Middle East, Trump just broke that. He broke their control in the Middle East. He took away their control of shipping of oil and their ability to manipulate oil prices as well. And that's a massive loss of power for City of London and the financial hub. Massive loss. And that's why you see Tucker, Megyn Kelly, well, Candace was already before that, Alex Jones. That's why you see them all jump at the same time, because it's assets deployed time, all in time, because we're getting screwed over here. And again, the last thing that we were completely exposing here is how much weaker the rest of the world is compared to to our country. We've learned that China is nowhere close to what we once thought it was. Okay, it's just not. Now they still grow, but it's fake growth, because they just had a report in China where their exports came in 70% lower than expectations. This is crushing them. They were getting Venezuela oil on the cheap, Iranian oil on the cheap, and now they're getting neither. Their country is in a deep, deep, deep depression. And it's going through, and I know it's not showing up on GDP, but again, who trusts China's GDP really? They're facing deflation. Their real estate is collapsing. It has been collapsing for 5 years. It hasn't even come close to finishing. They're struggling over there. And we've learned that their military is basically bought on Temu, because they had the air defense. They gave air defense to Venezuela and Iran, and we went into both those places and took it like that. And China didn't do a darn thing, because they're much, much weaker than we were ever told. And you can see here, look at us compared to the European countries. America, 2.3% growth for 2026 projection. Germany, France, Italy can't even get to a single percentage point. Spain, 2, UK, 0.8, Japan, Canada, it's pathetic. Russia's low. The only countries really are still the ones considered developing. China, which you can't trust China's numbers. India, developing country. Nigeria, Saudi Arabia, which just is always going to thrive as long as they have all that oil there. So, I mean, you can see just how well we're doing versus the rest of and none of these countries are carrying the weight that we are. Plus, we've already got a very healthy lead. So, you can see, guys, like all of this just keeps exposing what's going on. And what Trump's doing in Iran, again, which could end any day now, it's going to go down as one of the greatest moves ever. And I'm telling you, I really believe that it's the last major foreign policy move. I really, unless somebody starts causing something, there's just no one else out there that we really need to fight. I mean, we're going to take out the cartels in Mexico. We're probably going to do some cleanup in South America, but it's not going to be this. It won't be a war. It might be some special forces. It might be something like we pulled off in Venezuela that's really quick. We'll do that kind of stuff. But what we just saw, this is going to be the last of Trump's presidency. And I'm telling you right now, in 1 year from now, if Iran's over, in 1 year from now, is anybody going to say Trump broke his promise of no new forever wars? Nope. Not one person's going to care. You know why? Americans love winning. And if Trump went in, wiped up Iran in 6 to 8 weeks, comes back, our economy's booming, oil's lower than ever, nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to care. And it's going to go down as one of the biggest wins a president's had in the last 50 years. And that's what we're looking at, and that's where we're headed. And hopefully I get to report that it's official in the next couple of days. So